Okay, thank you, everybody. It's great to be here. I remember the first Crypto Mountains, and it's always been my favorite event. Just a disclaimer, Reto, you make a bit too much of it. I am not Joe Lubin's best friend, but I did work at Consensus for 3 years and had the chance to spend some time with him. And I've been in this space since 2016, when so I come out of communications and marketing. I have a big focus on thought leadership and on content, and I was a freelancer for a while, and one day UBS called me up and said, and this is in 2016, would I write for them a blockchain white paper? I didn't know what blockchain was, so I said, look, guys, if you're paying, I'll write you blockchain, chain gang, whatever it is, and that's how the whole journey started. So that's a bit to my background here. The good news is Reto has asked me several times to keep this short, so I'll try to do that. The bad news is that I'm here to talk about the boring aspects of tokenization and the boring aspects of blockchain in a sense. So after we heard about Richemont and watches and sports and the metaverse, I'm here to talk about more industrial or a bit of a trip into what can you do with this technology, with tokenization, with NFTs in this particular case, outside of the art and collectibles and metaverse market. And I'm doing this in the context of a report that I wrote for the Enterprise Ethereum Alliance. I've been running the comms and content there for the last about year and a half. And last summer we did a big business Ethereum report where we tried to look at adoption by enterprises and also smaller businesses of Ethereum for business reasons. This is a harder thing to do than, to get a lot of data on crypto. That's easy to find. Data on projects is easy to find. But if somebody does a business project that solves a supply chain problem or solves their particular market problem, then they're not necessarily going to advertise it. So we did a lot of legwork, went out, and we built a database of we started building a database of what we call business Ethereum projects, again, excluding the NFTs, excluding the metaverse, excluding all of the collectible and DeFi stuff, and trying to find out who's adopting, who's what's in production, and what are people doing. We've got about 150 projects in there, and then we also, because this data is hard to find, we did a lot of quantitative work, and that quantitative work involved doing case studies and interviews with practitioners out of this space. And what I'm going to present to you today is just a quick overview of some of the case studies that we did that cover the tokenization topic that I think show some of the adoption outside of the NFT world, but using NFTs. So I probably should have called this presentation case studies instead of use cases. And without, so here, this is just a quick snapshot of some of our data. If you see these dashed lines here, this is a cut of the data we have from our 150 projects, and this is the difference between when we did the report in 2022 in the summer and we did an update of the data this quarter. And as you can see, asset tokenization issuance has been growing like mad. So that's an area where there's a lot of things happening in the business Ethereum or the business blockchain world. And one of the things I had in the report, which I want to talk about when we get to the panel, is that it was kind of funny to us that during the NFT boom, it was presented as if the NFT was a brand new thing, was this huge innovation. It is an innovation in a sense, but the ERC 721 standard goes back much farther than the NFT boom. And it's really a new name for a fairly old concept. And what's interesting to me or to us in the NFT or the tokenization space is this idea of its utility, as well as for the collectibles, it has a utility value. And you say, look, for me, and we can talk about this on the panel, the innovation is not just, the innovation is this idea that with a token, you can take a piece of information, instead of having it imprisoned in a database, you can set it free on an open network, and that opens up all these possibilities that we see. So, to the case studies. One of the people we talked to was Accenture. They're a board member of the EEA, and they work with Microsoft to tokenize all of the components in their global data centers. I'm talking millions and millions and millions of components. The SSR, the DRAMs and the SSR and all of those. Anything that has a serial number in this data center gets a token. Okay, and what they do is they then can track they have built a platform around this, and it's on Quorum, but it uses the ER721 standard for the data, and they brought in all their suppliers and all the middlemen into this platform that they built, and they can basically, what Cody told me from Accenture, they can basically pull any component out and immediately, scan it or whatever, and get the token out and see the whole life cycle of this component, when it was maintenance stuff, where it came from, all this other stuff, and. To me, so that the token becomes the data record, right? But it's not in somebody's central database. It's floating through this platform. And as it goes along, people can add information to it, and it gets to the end. And that's very interesting from a various perspectives. One is that they can build a data platform for these components. Now, obviously, this is Microsoft's platform. So all the suppliers are suppliers of Microsoft, but there's nothing really that stands in the way of the suppliers doing deals between themselves, or doing some sort of P2P transactions, et cetera, within this platform. And apparently, I was told Microsoft is not going to stand in the way of that. So you have this internal market. The other thing was, this is a huge efficiency play. They claim that they're saving $50 million in gaining efficiencies, saving costs, stopping errors. Much more efficient way to work. And it's also, because they can track, and this is something interesting in the tokenization space, because they can track this data along this line, they can prove a lot of different things. And for example, they can prove energy use. If they prove energy use, they can then carbon offset. So they claim this is, for all of these suppliers, one of the greenest supply chains that they have, because they can do the carbon offsetting with it and prove exactly where what the energy use is. And obviously, at some time going forward, they're looking to put payments onto this platform as well, so you can do all the reconciliation and stuff right there. So here we have a NFT token as a data carrier, and here's just a quick screenshot of it's sorry about the fuzziness of how the system is set up. All right? Another one was, I talked to the guys at EY. EY is also a board member now of the Enterprise Ethereum Alliance, and they had a project in Italy where they wanted to prove to their customers that Birra Paroni, which is the best-selling beer in Italy, is made from purely Italian malt, right? Which I guess is a very good thing. I wouldn't doubt that. And what they do is they also have a supply chain set up where they mint tokens, and they follow the data from the farm, the malting process to the bottling process, and they have a token for each single batch of beer. So a batch of beer, I guess, I don't know what it is, I think it's a couple thousand bottles, but you get in a batch. That NFT, that QR code goes onto the bottles. And in Italy, if you get a Birra Paroni, you can look it up, scan the code, and you can see where your beer came from. And then, of course, they gamify it a bit. You can learn about the company. You can, go on and play games or whatever it is. But you can, with this project, they basically did two different things. They had a supply chain and a provenance thing going on, but they also made it into a customer engagement process, because by proving provenance, they can prove the authenticity, they can prove the quality of the materials, and they can get people interested. And apparently, at least when this thing started, 25% of the beer drinkers who were picking up these bottles were scanning the code, which is a pretty good, number if you think that, when you're drinking beer, you have other things on your mind than scanning a QR code. Here too, the token enables other innovation. They can also trace the footprint, and they're looking at these NFTs to do things with them besides just the supply chain and the engagement stuff, to really engage more with their customers through this platform. And I'll talk about the NFT as the new CRM in a bit. And an added benefit, of course, is this has also turned out, surprisingly to them, to be an efficiency play, because in order to do this, they had to digitize their supply chain anyway, which they hadn't done all these years. And this forced them to do it, and that helped out a lot. And here, just a quick visual of from farm to bottle. And there you see you have the QR code, and off you go into the Birra Paroni world. Another project we talked to was Crowds. Crowds is an EEA member, and they're building a platform for tokenizing receivables for SMEs. People who know that business, you know that a lot of small and medium-sized companies, you work with larger companies, you do your work, you send your invoice, you got to wait 30 days or maybe even more. So there's this whole industry on invoice factoring, and you can basically borrow money against this invoice. And what they did is they took these invoices, they tokenized them as ERC 721 tokens, and they're building a decentralized marketplace for these receivables, and the token is the receivable itself. And they've also got a native governance token, so it's supposed to be a decentralized marketplace. And what I found interesting when I was talking to Mark here is the way he said, look, once you've got this standard, right, you can open up the market way beyond our market, right? He said, look, this is an NFT. Yeah, it's an NFT of a receivable. It's not an NFT of a Bored Ape. But theoretically, it could be traded on OpenSea if you wanted to. Now, they're not doing that now, but you could definitely do it. So to them, that was the, and that increases your market size, increases the liquidity. It opens up a lot of possibilities. And again, the point is you have a standard, okay? And you have a standard, and you have, with the mainnet and everything on top of it, you have then basically a global platform on which to use it. All right. Then here's one closer to home. I'm sure you people have all heard of this. Taurus is a Swiss-based company. They have a tokenization platform. They are also a member of the Enterprise Ethereum Alliance. And I talked to Victor. This is before you probably saw a month ago, they raised 65 million from Credit Suisse and a whole bunch of other people. This is before that. This was last summer. And they did their first tokenization project with a Swiss SME near Montreux, I think it is, in that area, where they had a private placement, and instead of doing it the usual way, they tokenized the shares in that company, and they sold it directly via their platform. What's interesting about this project, I think, is that they Credit Suisse was helping with the issuance, so they actually were managed to book the tokens, to put the tokens into the core banking system of Credit Suisse, which Victor told me was a world first. So here too, it's got a lot of interesting possibilities. It's an efficiency play, obviously. And it makes it easier to do the transfers. It makes it easier to sell the tokens to reach a larger audience. It's also, because these are smart contracts, you can program these assets. So you can do the asset servicing and all the stuff you need to do for the share directly via the token and via the platform. And obviously, it reduces the cost of issuance. So I thought this was an excellent example of in the financial services area, in the programmable assets area, and also it's nice because it's close to home. Last but not least, all of these things I've showed you today up to now are from last summer, but you're among the first people to see this. Just this morning, we published a blog post on our website where I did a long interview with Dan Heyman, and Dan Heyman is the co-founder and CEO of Palm NFT Studios, and they're the guys who did like the DC Comics NFTs. You might remember those. And I was talking to him about not NFT collectibles, but about utility NFTs. And one of the themes that we've been seeing a lot of is this idea of the NFT as the new CRM, right? If you're a brand, and a lot of your customers have these NFTs in their wallets, then in essence, you have an intro into their wallet. So the question is, what can you do with this? And I don't mean this in a nefarious way. I mean this in a very open way. But this is another way of communicating with your customers. And Dan said to me, it's kind of like the early days of email. Remember when all the company, email was new, and all the companies were getting all these emails of their customers, and they had no idea what to do with it. Well, now all these brands are getting all these NFTs with their customers, and they're trying to figure out what they can do with it. So the question is, how do you communicate with your wallets, and what can you bring out of that? What value extra can you give to your customers, and what information can you get back from them? And one of the things that people are doing on the brand side is they're doing these experience NFTs. So Gucci had a thing where if you had a Gucci NFT, they would fly you to the house of Gucci and you could hang out there. And there's a lot of sort of NFT-gated experiences is becoming a big thing in the space. And he told me another couple of interesting things. He said, they talk to pretty much all the big brands in the world. And he said almost all of them, if not all of them, have a NFT team or a metaverse team or some sort of Web3 team. They all have. And it's going in and out. It's the battery.
Okay.
And almost done. And he said, most of the people in this team who run this team, they got hired last May. They thought this was the greatest job they've ever had. And then FTX happened and the crash happened, and now they're spending their time, trying to explain to their bosses, why to do this and what's going on with the Trump NFT, that kind of thing. And they're getting a lot of questions, but they're also doing a lot of education internally. And another thing he said is that almost all of them, or a lot of big companies, have already done POCs in this space. They've done an NFT, they've done a metaverse something, and a lot of these projects kind of died. Because what happened was they partnered with some Web3 company, and it was a revenue sharing model. The crash hit, the Web3 company didn't make any money and walked away, and now the brand has this NFT thing and doesn't know what to do with it. So the next round is going to be more sophisticated, and what Dan is saying is what he's seeing is that these brands, or the NFT people, are starting to work more closely with the traditional marketing people. So it's not, he says, don't look at the NFT thing, don't look at the Web3 thing as something separate. Look at it as another channel to do customer engagement with. And bring the two worlds together and you'll probably do okay. And and so that's really the things I wanted to show you about these case studies. We know we're doing more of them. If anybody here is interested in doing one, if you have something to do with Ethereum, unfortunately I have to work in the Ethereum world, let me know. And I just want to say a quick word before we take a break and go to the panel about the Enterprise Ethereum Alliance. We were started in 2017 as an alliance to support Enterprise Ethereum. Back then, Enterprise Ethereum meant private Ethereum. It meant consortia. It meant closed networks. That has all changed. So we at the EEA are pivoting greatly towards public blockchain. We do also a lot of education, and we do a lot of evangelism for Ethereum. These are our board members right now. We have a lot of groups, and it's a pretty large organization. And everyone is free to join or talk to me about it. And yeah, that's it. Thank you very much. I hope that wasn't...
Fantastic. Thank you.